quick question. How many of you are currently on a diet? Raise your hand, please. Okay, how many of you are trying to be on a diet? Okay. How many of you think you're looking fat today? Okay. How many of you have seen a psychiatrist? Okay, you're in the right room. We're in denial. We think we're fat, and most of us are on a diet. So you're definitely at the Women's Summit. My panel next is very exciting, and I'd like to introduce you to them. There's Bhumi. She's the actress who played the wonderful, overweight, beautiful bride in Dam Laga Ke Haisha. I don't know how many of you have seen it. It was a wonderful, wonderful film. Bhumi, please join us on stage. And she's no longer overweight. So we'll be talking about that because she was not wearing a fat suit. That was real. And how she's got rid of it, we have to talk to her about that. Then I'm going to ask Varkha, who's a psychologist, and she works a lot with young women and their weight issues and body images. So I'm going to ask her to join us. And Rujita, who's a nutritionist, who tells and forces her clients who are dieters to eat. So we definitely want to talk to her. She's also famous for Kareena Kapoor's size 0 body. Though size 0 is not something that she was targeting.
A lot of Indian women think that they're beautiful because they are desirable. But desirable from an external person, how about being desirable for oneself? And I think if there is an intrinsic belief, a mindset alteration, a reconstruction of value that I deserve better for myself, then there's no question of guilt when I go out and take time investing, whether it's in my yoga class, whether it's, in the parlor, or just taking time out for myself.
Okay, so I screwed up. I was supposed to wait for the film to play before I invited my panelists. My team is giving me the dirty looks from the left side. Okay, so I've confessed. Big deal. Okay, first question to all three of you. Are we hardwired to think thin is beautiful? Bhumi.
Definitely in our society, this is a perception that people have, that if you are thin, you are extremely hot and pretty. And I'm somebody who completely disagrees with that norm. While I was growing up, I still remember I had so many friends. And this is when I was in class 10, just after my boards were over. I had so many friends that would just faint when we go out because they weren't eating. And they weren't eating because they were going to go into college and they wanted to be thin because they believed that's the only way they'll get A, any attention from a man, and B, they need to wear good clothes, which I feel was so foolish on their part because they never realized how much are they going to harm their body. So I definitely do feel that we have this perception in our society where we are just pressurized to look a certain way. I don't come from a school of thought where I feel skinny is hot, but at the same time, I don't think being overweight should become a new fashion because that's unhealthy too. But I would definitely like to tell all girls my age and younger than me that, by the end of it, it's about accepting who you are for what you are, and I think that mainly comes from your upbringing. And this is something that I really believe that, when I was growing up, all we were always told was beauty is a state of mind. If you feel beautiful, you look it. And that has been my mantra always, even when I was 90 kilos, even today when I'm 57, I've always believed that I'm very pretty. I looked in the mirror and I thought, wow, you're stunning. I'm not a narcissist, but that was my mantra. It kept me going, and I always have been very happy because I don't think my happiness depends on the way I look physically. So, yeah.
Yes, power to Bhumi. I'm coming back to that. There are many questions I have on that, but I will come back to it. Varkha?
Unfortunately, in a country like ours where fair is beautiful, fat is ugly. So yes, the connotation or the definition, unfortunately, people like us, and when we use terms like society, who's society? Society is us. Society is made up of us as mothers, as sisters, as people who give unfortunate messages to our young children. We, according to me, are on the brink of a mental health crisis. I have 15-year-olds who walk into my clinic cutting themselves because of innocuous comments. Oh, is this your mom? You and she look like sisters. And those kind of comments are being received by our young kids. Okay, those kind of comments are being received by us. How many of us hate our bodies that we don't even undress in the light? We don't undress in bed, so we have sex with our clothes on. I'm also a sex columnist, so I have to put this in, that thin is in, and thin is so in that we have mental disorders, emotional eating disorders, bulimia, anorexia on the rise. We have, as Bhumi said, people fainting because they don't eat through the day. And as I said, if you and me are going to connote or define ourselves by how we look, we are all going to need Botox, and we are all going to need liposuction, and we are all going to need all the things that the media is
Not Bollywood, not Bollywood, media.
the media, Bollywood, and glamour is unfortunately propagating us to believe. So yes, fat unfortunately has a connotation of ugly. Thin unfortunately has a connotation of beauty. And until our definitions don't change, I'll only get more work. That's all I'm saying.
Rujita?
Well, I don't really think that women believe that they can be thin enough. You know, because I was in China in May, and there's a girl who was half my size standing right next to me. And we had a language issue because, I can't speak in English. I can't speak in Chinese. She can't speak in English. But she tapped on my shoulder, and she told me, look, I'm very fat. I'm really very fat. And here I was thinking to myself that there are all of these beautiful Indian women who love their masala chai, but they've given it up to drink Chinese tea because they think that Chinese and green tea makes them thin. And
Does
here
it?
I am. No, it doesn't.
Okay, guys, sorry.
But here I am in China with a girl who's like really, really skinny, but she doesn't feel beautiful. So I don't really think that thin is beautiful. I just feel that women all over have just kind of gotten used to thinking of themselves as products. Asha Parekh had to pad her butt to look beautiful. Madhuri Dixit had to gain weight on her arms to get her first movie. And today you have a Bhumi Pednekar who has to lose weight to get another movie. So every day they're going to tell us how we should look. And we are going to have a summit after summit and one magazine after another talking about empowerment. But all that we are going to be doing as women is following the latest trend on what should my butt look like. How should my arm look like? When I put my arm on my waist, should I go in the front for the selfie? Should I move back? Is this a better angle? Is that one a better angle? So, thank you. We don't even get paid for it. It's okay for an actor to do that. Someone's paying them at the end of the day.
So, Bhumi, you said you've been 90 kilos and now you are 57 and you felt beautiful in both. But when did you feel more beautiful?
Honestly...
Because I've been there too.
Yeah.
And I can tell you where I felt more beautiful.
No, the thing is that even when I was 90 kilos and I have enough people in my life that can vouch for this, there was nothing different about myself. I wore what I wanted. I partied as much as I wanted. I got enough attention from the opposite sex. I ran on the treadmill I did everything that I can do today. So in my mind, there really was never a difference. See, it also is that I was never a very skinny girl. I had my months where I was like, okay, you have to lose weight. I had my months where I really didn't care about my weight. And I think that's every girl's battle, the eternal wait to lose weight. That's like an ongoing process. But I think the thing is that every time I saw myself, I saw a happy girl who was very content with everything she did. I mean, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and be like, oh, I wore like hot pants when I was 90 kgs. No, I didn't, because I didn't think I was looking appealing. Okay, but even now I'm not a size 2, I'm not even a size 4. I'm a proud size 8 and I dress the way I want, and I've always done that. So I'm very happy, be it Bhumi 90 where she was Sandhya or be it Bhumi 57. I'm a very content, happy person. My happiness does not depend on my physical appearance. It never has. So very content always.
So Varkha, how do you make weight and physical appearance about how you think in the mind rather than how you look in the mirror, right? She's talked about that, saying that she felt the same. She hadn't changed. So
because what we are concentrating on in terms of weight loss, weight gain, are external superficials. And happiness does not depend on external conditions. I know it sounds cliched. It's an intrinsic state of mind. But more than just a state of mind, it's a process. When I'm sitting here today, addressing you, talking to all of you, I'm happy. It has nothing to do with the way I look. It has nothing to do with what clothes I'm wearing, what size I am. And I think until all of us are able to actually re-educate what is between the ears, okay, this entire battle constantly 24/7 will continue, because I think our connotations, our associations, our kind of correlations between happiness and the way we look is one of the most unfortunate ones. And that's why you have cutting, you have eating and throwing up, you have binge eating, you have starvation. And with the work I am doing, we are also finding significant correlation between diet, as in lack of food, and emotional disturbance. So I had someone who went completely off carbohydrates and began to hallucinate. So the more we externalize happiness, the more miserable we will be.
Rujita, what do you have to say about that? Because I mean, you know, it's fine to say what Varkha is saying, and I'm a working person. I get, let's say, TV ratings or profits, and that makes me happy. And nothing makes me happier than when my weight is down on that weighing scale, right? Now, what is going on? What is connected there?
Well, I think all that you have to do is really change the settings on your weighing scale so that it's always showing the number that makes you happy, because that way you will just be happy all the time, you know. So,
this is your top dietitian tip?
Yes, because, you know, thank you for calling me the top dietitian. I don't know if I have that. But I work without a weighing scale. So I do not own a weighing scale. There is no weighing scale in my office. Because every woman is capable of feeling good or bad about herself based on how she's feeling within. And sometimes I guess we just need an opportunity to do that. So eating right, I guess, is just a method of being more in touch with yourself. And when you're more in touch with yourself, you make the right decisions. You know, maybe decisions about, should I be standing up and eating my lunch? Should I be sitting down and eating my lunch? Do I really need another helping, or am I fine with just this much? Small decisions which really help us feel in control of our life. And I feel when we are in charge, that's when we are really happy, because we are making the choices, and then we can be very, very at peace with all the consequences that come with it. So if your happiness depends on a number, just fix that scale on the number, you know, and then you're every day, imagine Kalipuri wakes up every day she's happy.
Every day she's 57.
Every day in the bathroom she's happy, you know.
So seriously, you do not have a weighing scale in your office?
No, I do not have a weighing scale in my office. If my client says that I'm not feeling good, I just trust that. If my client says I'm feeling great, I just trust that. I don't say, "Aapne 300 gram lose kiya hai." You know, so none of those things. We do not decide what to eat, what to not eat based on how much anyone weighs. At the end of the day, whether or not we like it, as women, we are human beings. We have to treat, we are not some height and weight ka number or metric, right? I mean, we have feelings and aspirations and dreams and potential, and we have to ensure that we really aspire to meet our potential, and that cannot be met on a weighing scale. There is more to life. According to me, if you call yourself an empowered woman and you have a weighing scale anywhere at home, you're lying to yourself.
How many people here in the audience have a weighing scale and weigh themselves every day?
Yes.
And the rest of you are lying.
No, I think with women it's like this. We feel we are entitled to feel terrible about ourselves, but our husbands and our bitchy friends have to tell us, wow, you're looking great today.
I'd just like to come in, Rujuta.
Yeah.
There is a genetic predisposition to body type. And I think none of us are paying attention to that. I have fat hips. I inherited from my father. However much I diet or work out, it's not changing. The body structure you are born with stays with you to some extent. Of course, then with correct exercise and correct diets and eating and all that, you can kind of not restructure your bone size. So if I'm small and petite, okay, I'm small and petite. If I'm big and huge, I'm big and huge. How do I optimize that is, I guess, where Rujuta and people like her would be able to be of assistance. Am I right?
Well, I just think that, as long as we can stand on our feet till the end of the day, we are able to do everything that we want to do. We have the enthusiasm to go exercise, enthusiasm to go catch a movie, clean up our cupboards, forgive our husbands and mother-in-laws and teenage children for everything that they have said. I think we are fine. And, just to add to what she's saying, the rounder your hip is, the broader your brain is, that's a fact. Yeah. So it's a good thing. It's like, so,
Pat that bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you reach this level of body acceptance? I've talked about that, and maybe twice in my lifetime experienced it, which is a naked body moment, where you look at yourself in the mirror naked and you go, wow, I'm hot. How do you get to that point every single day? And because it's not so much about the physical appearance, it's something that's going on inside.
I think for starters, this definitely comes from your upbringing, okay? Now, I always speak about this because when I was growing up, our physical appearance was never really discussed the way a child's physical appearance or a teenager's physical appearance today is discussed. Like, we were always told that you're very pretty the way you are. Like, this is how God has made you. Be happy and be content.
You are pretty, Bhumi, so...
No, but everybody is. Like, thank you, by the way. So, but the thing is that when you're growing up, if you psych yourself that, oh my God, the only way I look good is if I'm like thin, the only way I look good is if I fit into a 26 size jeans. No, that's not the reason you look good. There's your personality, there's an outlook, it's your behavior, it's how you feel about yourself, it's how you treat other people. It's just not your physical appearance. You could be the prettiest girl in the world, but if you are bitchy and mean and bad, nobody's going to like you. Like, why would I even want to be associated with you? I'm not going to get anything out of your looks. So I definitely feel, it definitely comes from your family, and I always tell my friends, because, we are going to have kids in the future, far away, but we will have kids in the future. And this is the kind of upbringing I'm going to give them. I'm not going to care about how fat they are or how overweight they are when they are 13. How bad do I feel when I see 13-year-olds they torture themselves. Why? Because they want to fit a certain body type. And why do they want to fit a certain body type? Because there's this norm that, people say ki patle ho to achhe ho. It is so sad that you are not only physically torturing your body, but it also brings a mental block in your head, because I strongly feel you grow up to be complex human beings. You're never content with yourself. And how can you be empowered, the famous word that everybody uses now, empowered, if you're not happy with yourself and every decision you make in life is because of somebody else's thinking? I've had my moments where I've looked in the mirror and thought, wow, you're great. I've also had my moments where I've been like, okay, Bhumi, it's fine, like, not a good day.
Shouldn't have eaten that chocolate cake.
Yeah, but you move on. Like, I've not had it in my mind, and I'm not depressed sitting at home. Oh my God, I've had like 4 slices of pizza. What is going to happen? Big shit, I've had 4 slices of
cringing.
No, I think Bhumi's made an extremely important point, and in fact, I was talking to one of the Dr. Prasad behind. I think she's one of the recipients of the award this evening because of some innovation medicine, and she was talking to me about children. And I just said, problem children have problem parents. Very rarely is your child a problem if you are not a problem. So I had a 15-year-old girl who was brought to me by her parents. They've gone from psychiatrist to psychiatrist and they were not able to figure out what was it that was bothering this girl so much that she was cutting herself. I figured that the parents needed help. Their entire house was obsessed with how thin they were. All they could talk at meal times was, oh, we shouldn't be eating this, we should do this, we should not do this. So Bhumi has hit a very important point. In our houses, in between those four walls, we as mothers, I have a 15-year-old, give messages to our daughters and also now to our sons. We are constantly looking them up and down and giving a stimulus, criticism, taunts, barbs, sarcasm, everything to do with how fat you are. Oh God, you're 15 and you have love handles. Don't tell me you can't get into this 26-inch pair of jeans. It's a stimulus which is being provided to the child. When the child begins to lose weight, she is able to avoid that stimulus. Skinner, a very famous psychologist, called it aversive conditioning. We condition our children to constantly watch what they eat, to constantly look in the mirror, particularly the boys, and flex their muscles and look whether they have that six-pack ab. We constantly are actually brainwashing our children, conditioning them to believe that if you're thin, you're in, and if you're thin, you will be liked, you will be appreciated, you will be recognized. His or her behavior of constantly looking good gets reinforced in the social world then. So he steps out of house, which has constantly given him aversion of fatso, oh God, you're so, unfit. He begins to shrink, he begins to lose weight. My taunts stop, my sarcasm stop. He begins to get reinforced that if I manage how I look, my mom will love me, my dad will love me. He steps out. Society doubly advocates what I say in my four walls of home. He actually goes out, becoming a conditioned human being to learn. So we learn. We've learned weight loss as an aspect of living. We've learned dieting. We've learned to associate superficiality of looks with well-being.
But Varkha, this is a dilemma, right? In the sense you've just said that genetically you are a certain body type.
Yes.
So now let's say if I'm on the heavier side, my daughter has a tendency then to be on the heavier side. Right. Maybe she'll go on the father's side, I don't know. So it is my responsibility as a mother to make sure that she doesn't go overweight and go through some of the struggles that I went through, right? So I'm in a two-way. I can't just let her loose and say, okay, eat and drink anything you want and become a big tubster.
No.
At the same time, I can't be saying to her, you're fat, because I understand to a certain extent what you're saying. So somewhere along the line, I'm sure I'm sending her mixed messages, right? And I'm dealing with my own weight as well, all the time.
Exactly.
Right?
And
so
because you're so uncomfortable, not you, because we are so uncomfortable.
No, me.
Because we are so uncomfortable with the way we look, but naturally our anxiety gets passed on. But
so
naturally
what is your
we become
advice?
obsessive. As I was talking to Rujita before we came on stage, maybe you'd like to add, Rujita, here, that we are our children's diet controllers. We are not putting on the table what is, come on, a 13, 12, 11-year-old is supposed to have fun. Even I'm supposed to have fun. I relished some cake that was there, and I only ate cake. Because for me, I say, okay, come on, indulgence is part of being human. And I'm obsessed. If I'm obsessed, there's a very thick line between responsible eating and obsessive eating. And I think we are veering into obsessiveness, and that's why this talk today, the body image is coming because of our obsessiveness, not because of our healthy concern. I want to be fit.
Rujita, jump in.
No, I would just like to say what I said earlier, that we have to accept that we are human beings. Human beings are the most intelligent people on earth, the most intelligent living being on earth, and there isn't a single animal or any other living being who needs to be told when to eat and when to stop eating. So I guess we just need to know that as human beings, we have an auto control on when to stop eating. There isn't a single mother who has fed her child. You know, when you're breastfeeding your child never accidentally over drinks the milk. You know, no one has ever accidentally overeaten. There are children, if you feed them like, you know, when they come to that age where you're actually able to give them that roti, sabzi or dal chawal, if you accidentally calculate ki itna to aaj khana hi chahiye and you feed that much, they involuntarily just throw up. So the system, you know, we have a brain which is able to tell us that this much is fine, you need no more than this. However, what we have forgotten is our grandmom's wisdom. Our grandmother has always told us that in every season, the appetite is going to fluctuate. So when you're in between friends, you naturally eat more. When you're in between your loved ones, you eat more. When it's summer, you eat lesser. When it's winter, you eat more. So I guess it's about respecting the natural rhythms and also about respecting ourselves as human beings and trusting that I do not need a mother, a dietitian, a doctor, a thin friend to tell me where to stop eating.
So how do you get to that position of trusting yourself? Because so many of us here overeat or struggle with this, right? Somewhere along the line, this auto system has got corrupted.
It's gotten corrupted because we are not disciplined about eating on time. I guess regulated means
and emotional eating. We have two systems in the body. The autonomic nervous system is made up of the system of pleasure and the system of pain. When I'm upset, I want to slap my husband. I'm angry with my mother-in-law. Okay.
Would you like to talk to us a little bit more about that, Varkha?
I slapped him. No. I feel guilty. I don't like that guilt. The nervous system which is kicking off that time is the system which is giving me pain. I want to squash it. I want the system of pleasure to kick in. So what do? I eat. I comfort eat. I emotionally eat. I shop. I have sex. I use drugs. I drink alcohol. I do everything to quash my emotional upsetness. Half of the people who overeat, one, have made too big a deal about eating. That's one. And two, are eating for the wrong reasons. They're all eating for the wrong reasons. As she said, nature tells you enough, otherwise you will throw up. My head, because it's so screwed up, doesn't tell me enough because I've associated eating with pleasure. And I'm not facing the things that need to be faced head on, which is my terrible relationship with my spouse, my family, my not getting ahead in life, other friend getting the boyfriend I wanted, okay, my child not acing an exam. I'm eating for all the wrong reasons.
And, you know, what I would also like to say is that how do we learn to stop at the right point? Simply by learning from experience. I think each one of us remembers that if we've had a particularly bad meal, what it makes us feel like the next moment, what it makes us feel like the next day, the next morning. You're straining on the pot, so I guess you should just remember that I don't feel good about myself.
Show us that posturing.
So I guess we should just remember this is what it makes me feel like. So I should not torture myself like this again. Part of eating right stems out of self-love. And a lot of women are so scared of loving themselves because somehow they feel that if they do love themselves, they will become too nakchadis and will become like a problem to the rest of the world. So they stop loving themselves. You know, so I guess if you love yourself, you will never, ever torture yourself with food. You will never undereat. You will never overeat. You'll always be happy with what you're eating. If you're happy with what you're eating, you're always happy with the way you're looking. Otherwise, the skinniest girl, I mean, look at the number of women who put their hands up and said that I feel that I'm fat today. Half of the women want to look like them. You know, right. I want to look like I think like all of them, you know, because they all are beautiful, but it's such a lost opportunity if you don't feel beautiful in the moment. And I really like Facebook for this because Facebook these days, you know, they throw up your pictures from 2 years ago and 3 years ago. And I have almost everyone looking at it and saying, oh God, I was so thin and I was feeling so fat. And I guess even if we remember that when you were thin, you were feeling fat. And maybe right now also you are thin, you're just waiting for 2020 to feel thin about yourself. But you know, this moment, it's it's gone, it's lost.
So can all three of you talk about this self-love? Because that's kind of affecting everything. It's affecting the mental health, it's affecting how we eat, what we eat, etc. So talk a little bit about that, because you said you love yourself at whatever weight, right? How do you get to that self-love? It can't just be about parents giving you, you know, the right advice. And it's basically down to the mothers again. We've done everything wrong, right?
No, but you know, I strongly believe that, okay, when it comes to self-love, right, I feel I'm a great human being. Okay, I'm good to everybody around me. I'm good at my work. Everything is great in my life. Like, I am really a self-obsessed person. And I think it is super healthy to be self-obsessed, because if you can't accept yourself or love yourself, how are you going to give it to others? Like, how are you going to inculcate it further? And I'm just going to come back to what you said earlier, that, you know, the dilemma of where do you stop. You know, I feel it also comes from habit. Like, when I was growing up, we were not allowed Pepsi, Coke in our house. It was a luxury for us to go out and have a glass of Coke. And I still have that habit. I just don't drink soft drinks. Right? Now, automatically today, when I did my entire transformation, I gained 20 kilos, I lost a lot more than that. I've just realized one thing. The only thing that kept me going is not caring about what others had to say. And that only comes because I am a self-obsessed person. Like, you know, when I gained weight for the film, I actually had my loved ones and my friends come up to me and tell me, are you depressed eating? The thing was, I didn't look sad. I wasn't unhappy. I was probably really happy because I got to do two things I love. That was act and eat, and I was getting paid to do it. Like, how many people are this lucky? How many actresses get this opportunity? But they thought because I was gaining weight so fast that I'm probably depressed, I probably have some boy trouble, you know, there's some major problem in my family, but there was none of it. I was doing it because of a professional commitment. But you know, this is the perception that people have. The moment they see an overweight person, yaar, ye na sad hogi, ya ye na depressed hogi, she's not content, this is the reason you eat. No, you don't always eat because you're depressed. I mean, yes, I completely agree, you do stress eat. I do it a lot of times, but that's not the only reason you do it. And I think it's so foolish that just because I am a certain weight, you've already assumed that my environment around me is very unhealthy. Like, that is ridiculous. And where loving yourself is concerned, I love getting dressed, okay? I do my makeup, I do my hair. Everybody in this room spends as much time in front of the mirror as I do, okay? And I'm saying this because, yes, I'm an actor. It could be this thing, oh, you're an actor, you have to do this. No, everybody is looking so stunning here. Everybody is so well-dressed. And you only do it because deep down inside you love yourself. It's just that we are perpetually battling because of what people tell us. And I guess the day you stop battling and the day you stop caring what a third person has to say, be it your child, be it your husband, your boyfriend, your teacher, your friends, your boss, life is going to be so bloody simple, because the only person who needs to be happy is you. This is what I believe. This is what kept me going. I don't know.
So she's right. Unfortunately, self-love has always been associated with conditions. We've always conditionally loved ourselves. So I'm pretty, so I'm fair, so I'm a doctor, so I'm this, so I'm that. The minute you stop separating or dissociating, and I would like to add, unconditionally accepting who you are, not even self-love, I will say self-acceptance. The minute I can accept that I'm a human being who has a right to be happy and who has a right to be alive, and just simply because of that right, I have a right to self-worth, I think that's enough. I think the intrinsic training which we need to give, and I have been shouting from the rooftops that it's time emotional education was made as a part of the educational curriculum. We teach history, geography, sciences. No one's teaching us mental health. From the crib, if you teach your child you have a right to just be you, that's self-love. And I think if we can inculcate that, okay, maybe we are old and we are ready, 1 foot in the grave, okay, our youth, for me, my worry is my youth, my 11, 12, 13-year-olds who are fainting, collapsing, being anorexic, being bulimic, and having body dysmorphic disorder, where they are so ashamed of even taking out their own clothes in front of themselves. So how many of you have looked at yourselves in the mirror naked? every day, if you do this as a form of exercise, you'll be walking towards the path of what
Okay,
Kali
so
said.
that's a really good tip.
So
Rajita?
I'm going to start undressing right away.
Do it. Ratings, yes. Go for it.
No, I guess not saying a few things like she was saying, because a lot of times we do take off our clothes and look at ourselves in the mirror, and then all that we can see is a problem area. So I know women who stand like this and they turn around and say, if this goes, then I'll be like much better. Can I get a knife and just cut it off? So I guess we have to again accept that we are human beings and that we are going, now that we've taken birth, we are growing up, the body is constantly going to change. And I really feel that at 16, we probably look our worst. And unfortunately, the older we get, the more we want to look like our 16-year-old self. And at 16, we felt terrible about the way we were, because we didn't know how to dress up, we didn't know what to say, we were never really sure about ourselves. You have to age a bit to be a little sure about yourself. And once you're sure about yourself, I guess, you feel much better about yourself. So our bodies change, they are going to change, we should accept that. I cannot look like this 20 years later. I cannot even look like this 20 years earlier. And I should celebrate the way I look every single day. And it comes from eating right, using my body, exercising, doing the kind of work that appeals to me, being in relationships that make sense to me, being on platforms like this where you get a chance to yap your yap. So I guess it just comes from there. Where else does self-love stem from?
Before I open it up for questions, I'm going to ask Bhumi the top tip for going from 90 to 57.
Okay,
What worked, and don't tell me you didn't eat anything and all that, okay?
No,
Because
honestly,
I've been there, done that, so.
No, the thing is, I ate everything. Like, my breakfast consisted of 2 egg whites with toast with butter. Let me just mention this. My lunch existed of roti. Yes, I quit wheat because I just thought it did not go with me. But I ate chana, I ate bajra, I ate ragi. I had rajgira with ghee on the roti. My dal had a tadka. My sabzi was cooked well. The only thing is, everything was in moderation. When I mean moderation, yes, I proportion my food because now I've realized what my stomach needs. Now I know when I get full. I don't greed eat anymore as much as I used to earlier. I still do greed eat, but the only thing is, it's about, what helped me was...
Top tip.
Top tip is just detoxify your body. Detoxification and eating what you've always had since you were a child are the 2 things that worked for me. And working out. There are no 2 ways. You have to be active.
Rujita, top tips. You said something about timing, which we never got to explore.
I guess just eat on time, eat according to your inner hunger cues. If there is a top tip, this is one. And the other top tip is never ever listen to anyone for weight loss. I think that's my top tip. Don't take weight loss tips from anybody.
Says the weight loss expert.
Yeah.
Okay, can I open it up for questions? Are there any questions? Yes, Sarita.
It was an incredible discussion that I heard. Having heard all that, I also just wanted to say there's nothing wrong in controlling the weight of growing children by increasing their exercise and not allowing them to overeat. This is one thing. The other thing is, I'm very much like Bhumi, my own person. I used to be very slim at one time. I gained a lot of weight because of a comfort eating or stress eating. And now I'm comfortable not losing it. So, somewhere deep down, I do want to lose it. I'm comfortable not losing it also. I'm just so much my person, like I've always been. What will shake me up to get me to be my ideal weight? Eat correctly. Is it the psyche, the brain?
Yes.
And how can I rewire it?
So unknowingly, all of us have self-images. You've kind of kept your image as what you are now.
Unfortunately.
And if you don't change that visualization in your head, you will never go back to what you would want to be.
So I have to see myself the way I am now?
You have to
It's
see
not as
yourself
nice.
as what you would ideally like to be.
Okay.
So if we do this through visualization or mental training, where we create an idealized self-image, and if you keep that idealized self-image 24/7 at the back of your head, I promise you this evening's high tea, you won't reach for the cookies.
That would be a shame. You know, I just want to say that there isn't anything like an ideal body weight. All right, medical science moved way further, and now we actually have something called as TOFI, which is thin outside, fat on the inside. So you will have these really, really skinny girls or men who are metabolically unfit. So the fat inside is where they're counting the central obesity, the amount of fat that is in between all of your critical organs like your pancreas, your heart, lungs, liver, kidney, spleen, everything. And then there is FOTI. FOTI is fat outside, thin inside, which is something that I like. So I always say we should all be FOTI, because no matter how thin we get, you know, Bollywood and media doesn't allow us to feel thin enough. So FOTI, fat on the outside but thin inside, you know, you're metabolically fit, that's all that matters. So there is no ideal weight. Because at your height, there will be so many women, we all can't be of that, you know, 5'3" ho to 53 kilo ke hone chahiye. In fact, I have never ever met anyone who is of their ideal weight.
No, what I meant was idealized
not
self-image.
Yeah, not the image,
No,
the
but
ideal
Varkha,
weight.
just to come back to what you said, right? If you have this image of yourself that, oh, okay, I can see myself as this fantastic 57 kgs, right?
Yeah.
And you're not that. You can also see in reality you're not that. Then that sort of gap makes you stress eat.
On the contrary,
You go, oh my God, I'm not what I should be.
if you
Eat
say
quickly.
this is what I would like to be and keep it consistently as your visual picture, you will deduce from there. That picture will not allow you to overeat. That picture will push you that extra bit into the gym because you want to be that. You'd like to be that. So the problem with us is we think of being that sometimes, once in a way, not regularly and not consistently.
I guess what she means is not really visualizing a number on the scale.
No,
It's
visualizing
visualizing all
self.
of the habits that will get you, that will make you feel good about yourself, you know. And
Yes?
Hi. I think we were talking a lot about teenagers, children, etc. I just want to say that, you know, we are only talking about the feminine gender. The point is, most of the problem stems from the male gender, whom the feminine gender is trying to please, forgetting that the male gender, however paunchy the man is, or however bald he wants a sexy-looking wife, you know. And the point
And he's
is,
getting it. That's worse.
yeah, and the obsession. So the rectification has to be the male gender mind.
No, contrary. Us women, why are we accepting such slobbish husbands?
You see, that's the metro woman talking. India is not about Bombay, Delhi and Bangalore. I want to tell you, Rujuta is, her dietitians are huge, famous in very, very small towns of our country. And it is because of my husband likes me this way. So it's not about Mumbai, Delhi mindset, women empowerment. These words are not suitable. So I think the men need to change the way they look. You know, that should be the diet plan.
invited any men here to listen to all this.
We'll ask India today to do a men's
No,
summit.
the men are only watching us on TV. Okay, one last question, Hema. Hema?
I think what I gather from the conversation that's taken place is that we need to change the discussion from talking about being thin to being healthy and fit in our houses. And that's what's going to bring the change about. When we talk of, and we need to be role models for our own kids. So when we change this prism of conversation, I think that's where the shift will happen, and, you know, all the issues about the pressure that women feel to stay thin and, go on these diets will then shift.
Correct. There is something in psychology which we call verbal conditioning. Okay? And I think and linguistics has played a very important part in the development of certain psychotherapies. So if we do just change language to health, fitness, are you feeling well? Are you feeling, active, as she said, energetic, alive, lively? I think slowly but surely we will definitely be propagating another philosophy, not of thinness, but of wellness.
But Varkha, it would be nice to have some role models who are also of a different weight. Not that everyone is of that 57 kgs. If you had stayed 90 kgs, we had a hope.
But no.
Yes. I swear I would have if there were good enough roles written for me. I'm such a greedy actor. I'm not going to miss out on any work.
France is beginning to do that. France, I think Parisian models are no more wanted as anorexic.
The land of cheese and chocolate.
Yes.
Okay, I could talk about this for hours, but I'm getting the dirty looks from the rest of the team. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I hope that some of you can grab them as they get off stage and ask them some of the questions you want to, because they're still around. Okay.
Wow, that's a lot of questions,
That's
Kali.
because I'm such a fantastic moderator. Stop giving me the dirty look.
I am.
Yes, please. Okay.
More than a minute. Now, two things I just want to add. One is that today, the mantra for slim, according to a lot of other women, is healthy. It's so important for women to be healthy. I think that, for me, is the most important thing today in this conversation. I was looking forward to this session more than anything else, and the reason for it being health. It is such an important issue for us, especially as women. We have babies, we grow up, we become mothers, grandmothers, and then we have to look after a whole new generation of children. So I think that, for me, is very important. And secondly, I think exercise. Free medicine. That is called exercise. For me.
Rita, do you believe in supplements?
Oh, yes, I
Vitamins and supplements?
Yeah, why not, but only if your baseline diet is correct. It's like if you have something to say, then having a mic makes sense, so the supplement is like the mic. You should have something to say in the first place.
Okay. Well, at least I don't fit in the category of some women. When I was pregnant with my twins, that, the weight will go with you running behind the kids. No. It went with a lot of exercise. So, ma'am, a lot of lunges, a lot of squats, a lot of running. Yes, it takes a lot, to get fit. But thank you all so much. Thank you, Kali. Thank you, Bhumi, Rujita, Varkha. Thank you all. I would request Pooja Garg of PCJ to please come up on the stage and kindly felicitate all of our guest speakers. It was a nice, candid conversation.
But I'm a proud size 8. I have my curves intact. 8 is not Toby, okay? 8 is fine. Now it's okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Oh my God, I could have talked for ages more. Like it was an hour more. Your favorite topic?